Nebraska makes its first ever trip to ACC country, taking on the team that won the conference a year ago, Wake Forest, here in Winston-Salem, in front of a sold-out crowd at Grove Stadium. And we're about 30 seconds or so away from kickoff between Wake Forest and Nebraska, along with Andre Ware and Aaron Andrews. I'm Dave Pash. The nation's leading rusher after week 1 is Nebraska's Marlon Lucky at 233 rushing yards last week, 4 total touchdowns. Meanwhile, a new quarterback today for Wake Forest, Riley Skinner, out with a shoulder injury, so Bret Hodges will start. Andre, what's the difference between the two?
Well, basically the difference right now, one guy has butterflies, the other one doesn't, because he's going to take the snaps. But you look at it, there is no difference. They're going to basically go with the same offensive package for Bret Hodges as they would with Riley Skinner. When it came into this game, or a year ago or so, it was Hodges who was ahead in the pecking order, and it was a separated shoulder. The irony of that is he would have been the quarterback, but Riley Skinner took over. You look at it, and talking to him yesterday, he seems to be okay, and he's ready to go.
But he'll have to wait. Sam Keller will be out there first, the Nebraska quarterback, as Grigsby takes the kick return past the 25-yard line, and a good return out around the 35 as he's bumped out of play by Hunter Haynes. Let's bring in now the third member of our crew down on the sideline, Aaron Andrews.
Me up there for the both of you guys. It's supposed to be about 88 degrees here today. I can tell you it's a lot hotter than that on the field. Feels about 92, 93. I spoke with Nebraska head coach Bill Callahan about this, and he said, look, I brought the team out for a good 30, 35 minutes for a walkthrough to get used to it. Courtney Grigsby, senior Husker, told me, hot? It's about to get hotter in about 20 minutes. Yeah. I don't know if I can deal with that.
Well, drink some water and lots of it, all right?
Lots of it.
And they're going to run Lucky. Nebraska ran it 70 times in a huge win over Nevada last week, but nothing there. As McClintock makes the tackle on Lucky on first down and 10. No gain on the play.
Hey, look at Lucky and what he was able to accomplish. Leads the nation in rushing, 266 all-purpose yards, 233 on the ground. Nebraska, as an offensive unit, Dave, ran it 70 times. Nebraska of old.
413 rushing yards. That's the most in the Bill Callahan era. Callahan with a new quarterback. You see him there, Sam Keller. And it's a screen, and getting away from the defender is Lucky. And he gets to the 37-yard line before Kerry Major makes the tackle. All right, we told you about Sam Keller. And Keller's going to introduce to you the Nebraska starting offense. All right, maybe he won't. Here's Keller going with the Allen Iverson look with the sleeve. Andre, you'd have looked great if you'd have worn that when you played quarterback.
And I don't know how much that helps you throw the football, but if it works inside your head as a quarterback, you do what you have to do.
One of the reasons he's wearing that is because he has a lot of tattoos under that sleeve, but he didn't want to show off as Keller's pass goes through the hands of Nate Swift, incomplete, and it will bring up fourth down.
Yeah, Nate Swift is usually a sure-handed receiver. They like to go to him in critical situations like that third down, and Wake Forest kind of passing the test defensively in the first series. Major hurdle for them to get over early in this game. Stop this high-powered Nebraska offense. Get yourself set up in some pretty good field position to start this game offensively.
Dan Titchener had a great 2006. He'll punt it away to Kenny Moore. We told you we had the nation's leading rusher here in Marlon Lucky. Kenny Moore is the nation's leading passer. Caught 15 balls last week, and Wake Forest lost to BC. Will he get a chance to return this punt? He will, as he bobbles it at the 12. Trying to get to the outside and can't. Wrestled down at the 24-yard line by Lance Brandenburg. Time to meet the kids from Wake Forest. Here's tight end Zach Selman.
Starting at quarterback, we got Bret Hodges, his first collegiate start today. That's okay, though. We got him backed up by Micah Andrews, a running back coming off a knee injury last year. Outside, we got Kenny Moore, big play receiver, a.k.a. Jamie Foxx. And up front, we got big Chris DeGear, a.k.a. security.
Really was an amazing 2006 for this Wake Forest offense. They won 11 games with really a third-string quarterback in Riley Skinner.
Yeah.
Hodges actually was ahead of him, then he got hurt. And a backup running back, Ken Moore, who we just mentioned, with 15 catches last week. He was playing running back last year. And here's Micah Andrews on first down, and he tries to pick a hole and can't find it. Only got 1 yard. Larry Asante on the tackle. Courtney Grigsby, Nebraska corner, introducing the defense.
Big guys, we got Big Sue in the middle at deep tackle. On the end, we got Barry Turner, the playmaker. Then we got the bully at the wheel linebacker, Steve Octavian. And at the Sam, we got Bo Rude. On the back end, we got the speedster, Tierre Green.
4 new starters on the defensive line for Nebraska as they're replacing a lot of good players, including first-round draft pick Adam Carricker. Out of the backfield, Andrews makes the catch and a good tackle out in space by Murillo at the 31-yard line. That's a gain of 5, and it will bring up a 3rd down and short.
Well, that's what you want to do if you're the offensive coordinator, Steve Labatsky. He wants to get Bret Hodges a lot of easy throws early in this game, get his confidence up. Remember, we talked about him being ahead of Riley Skinner going into last season's first week. He injured his shoulder, and it was Skinner who stepped up and led this team to an ACC title in a BCS bowl game. But now, Bret Hodges getting himself massaged into this football game.
On 3rd and 2, they're going to run Andrews, and he's got the first down to the 38-yard line. He picked up 6 before Courtney Grixby made the stop. Well, Hodges got to play last week against Boston College after Skinner got hurt and did pretty well.
And he goes right over Matthew Brim right there. You see it, a nice little lane right there for the runner to get through. Micah Andrews, the son of the famous William Andrews, who started Auburn as well as the Atlanta Falcons. So a lot of talent, a lot of good bloodlines for Micah Andrews.
At the point that he got hurt last year in the Connecticut game, week 4, he was the nation's leading rusher, was having a great year. Then he tore his ACL. Only rushed for 7 yards last week. Wake Forest only rushed for 2 as that pass is intercepted by McEwen. Corey McEwen steps in front and picks off an errant throw by Bret Hodges. And Wake Forest, which lived off of takeaways last year, gives it away here in their first series of game 2.
Well, you see him want to go to Micah Andrews here in the flat. It's taken away. He tries to come back inside to the tight end. You see the eyes go there, comes back inside, and then all of a sudden, Zach Selman, the tight end, he hooks up before where Bret Hodges wanted to throw the football, and that results right into the midst of Corey McEwen.
In relief of the injured Skinner last week, Hodges did throw a pick, but he also threw a touchdown pass. And Nebraska goes back to the ground with Lucky, bangs off of one man, and then thrown down to the 29 after a gain of about 8. Chip Vaughn on the stop for Wake Forest.
Well, you thought Wake Forest stopping Nebraska in that first drive would build some confidence, go down, move the football, and they did so. A first down or so in the first drive, and then the big interception. Now, this team was built last year. They won a lot of ball games, plus 13 in the turnover margin. They came into this one -1, and already early, Wake Forest turning the football over.
31 takeaways for the Wake defense a year ago, but essentially an all-new secondary. But they came up with a couple of takeaways last week, turned them into touchdowns. On 2nd and 2, they'll run Lucky again, and he gets the first down as he hurdles Alfonso Smith to the 26-yard line. Let's meet the Nebraska offense. Here's quarterback Sam Keller.
With the offense, we'll start up front with the most important unit, the big boys. We got the big tackles on the edge, Carl Nix and Lyden Murtha. Then right in front of me, you got my center, the captain, Brett Byford. Behind me, you got the always flashing Marlon Lucky. And last but not least, you got Terrence Nunn, the speedy wideout, always looking good.
And also Maurice Purify, who is playing today, and he makes the catch inside the 15-yard line and picks up the first down. First game of the year for Maurice Purify, who was arrested twice in the offseason, ended up pleading no contest to DUI and an assault charge. But after a 7-week suspension, he is back, and he is a big-time target for Sam Keller.
Yeah, Nate Swift started the season at that position, the X position at the receiver in the receiver corps. Purify averaged over 18 yards a reception last season. So you talk about a guy that can hit a home run. He is a big play receiver.
And gets Keller a first down at the 14-yard line of Wake Forest. Running play, Lucky can't slip a tackle down at the 11-yard line. Anthony Davis on the stop. Zach Stukes for Wake Forest will introduce the Demon Deacon defense.
Starting for our D-Dogs at defensive end, we got King Xerxes, Jeremy Thompson. In the middle, we got Mr. Untouchable, Boo Robinson. For the linebackers, we got the Haitian sensation, Stanley Arno. In that corner, we got Mr. Pahokee, Alfonso Smith. And at safety, the General, Chip Vaughn.
Well, they'll all have to be untouchable in the middle because they'll be tested, that defensive line, all throughout this ball game.
Nebraska just able to lean on Nevada last week for over 400 rushing yards. On 2nd and goal, Keller, fade pattern to the corner, and it is knocked away by Purify. Alphonso Smith actually had a better chance at it than Purify did. It's incomplete.
Well, what a way to play the football. It's a great one-on-one matchup. You're talking about a guy 6'4", matched up against Alphonso Smith, who's only 5'9", but he makes the play here. Purify actually has to turn in to the defensive back to knock it away from Alphonso Smith. There, Keller. You look at it, Dave, he's been a little bit off the mark early in this football game with a little pressure, and Wake's going to bring that. They play a lot of cover one where they can get a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage. They're going to be in his face all day long.
The Nebraska coaches said they want Keller to manage the game, and he did that last week, but he did throw an interception that was returned for a touchdown against Nevada. Keller to the air, fade again on 3rd down, and it's off the mark, intended for Peterson. And Nebraska will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Hey, that's a small what?
Victory.
Small win for Wake Forest. You turn it over this deep in your own territory, and you're able to hold the offense to just a field goal attempt. That is a small victory for Jim Grove and his Wake Forest football team.
So Alex Henry will come on for the short field goal try of 22 yards. And Nebraska able to come up with 3 points off that Wake Forest turnover. But as you said, Andre, the Deacons will take that after what they saw on film from Nebraska's offense last week. Hodges pick. See if he bounces back when Wake Forest offense returns to the field when we come back to Wake Forest. We're in the middle of a construction site here at Grove Stadium. Yesterday, our crew getting ready and going up what's going to be the elevator to the brand new Deacon Tower, which will house the press as well as the president's box and also have premium seating. And actually, Andre and I were able to whittle this little press box out of beechwood. Good job, Dre. And if you're impressed with this hardware, it really looks better on Andre than it does on me. You'll be impressed with Andre's hardware for this week, which focuses on the physical, and the software, which focuses on the mental.
Well, the hardware being Nebraska and that big offensive unit, they got a lot of offensive linemen. They'll play as many as 8, 3 tight ends, 4 running backs, and 7 wide receivers. And on a hot, muggy, humid day, all that depth on the offensive unit may come shining through.
Kevin Marion takes the kick return past the 25-yard line and up around the 30 before he's wrapped up and brought down at the 32 by Dan Erickson.
Bret Hodges happens to be a computer science major, says he wants to be a legalized hacker. So if that doesn't qualify as software, nothing does.
Pretty good basketball player, too. He was the all-time leading scorer at his high school, replacing the injured Riley Skinner, who could be back in a couple of weeks when they play Maryland here in the 22nd. They run Andrews on 1st down straight ahead. And Marshall, like Appalachian State, was a 1AA school at one point, had an excellent program. Hodges going deep, Marion wide open. Oh, he would have had a touchdown as he got about 5 yards behind the safety. And the pass by Hodges was right there.
Boy, I tell you what, Kevin Marion's going to wish he had this one back. What a well-thrown football by Bret Hodges. Gets behind Tierre Green, the free safety. You're going to see him here. Nice little post route over the top. And the quarterback rolls to draw the coverage, rolls away from the pressure, and you see the post over the top, throws it on the move and right in stride. Oh, my goodness. He'll wish he had that one back.
Had a career-high 5 catches last week after only 10 grabs all of last year. Got to come up with that if you're going to beat a team like Nebraska. And now 3rd and 7. Nebraska showing blitz. It's picked up and knocked away, incomplete. Murillo batted it down. It was intended again for Marion, and Wake Forest will have to punt.
Armando Murillo, junior college transfer, and good coverage there, but boy, they had a golden opportunity slip through their fingers. Kevin Marion running wide open behind the secondary. Bret Hodges reads the coverage on his short roll, delivers a very catchable football, and Wake unable to capitalize.
Grigsby will await the punt from All-American Sam Swank. Averaged 41 yards a boot last year, but only 31 last week in a loss to Boston College. And this is not a good kick at all. But it takes a Wake Forest bounce inside the 25-yard line where it's down at the 22. Kevin Marion had a touchdown for Wake Forest, but through his hands, and it remains 3-0 Nebraska. See you for
first and foremost, I think Notre Dame's in trouble. Going into Happy Valley, that's going to be a tough one. Penn State could just basically pace them.
Keller's pass is caught, going down as Terrence Nunn to make the grab. Back to Aaron Andrews, who's down on the field.
Dave, just to give you a little insight into tonight's game, Penn State, Notre Dame, I had a chance to talk with Nittany Lions defensive coordinator Tom Bradley last night, and he said while Charlie Weiss did go ahead and name their starting quarterback, he said still Penn State is not sure who they're going to throw at us and for how long. Their two quarterbacks have two different styles. And then for Penn State's side of things, he said, we only have one senior on our defense. So at the same time, we have so many young guys. We're trying to get out there, play fast, and figure out what we're doing.
Well, Penn State at home, obviously going to be a difficult place for Jimmy Clausen to play. And with three quarterbacks going last week for Notre Dame, you wonder, will Clausen be able to go the whole game?
How'd you like to make your first collegiate start at Penn State in front of 100,000+ noisy, crazy, rowdy fans? But they've got to find a way for him to communicate with the rest of that offensive unit, get him settled down and into that game early to even have a chance.
Here's Lucky on 2nd and 4, just batters into the line. Anthony Davis on the stop. What about that other game tonight? You got Virginia Tech. I mean, everybody's ripping the ACC. Wake Forest loses at Boston College last week as the defending ACC champion. Virginia Tech struggles with East Carolina. Now they got to go play LSU.
I'll give it to you in 3 letters. LSU. At home, that's a tough place to go play, especially at night. The fans have had all day to get ready for that ball game. Tough, hostile environment. I got to like LSU. It's big against Virginia Tech.
And Keller loses the ball. It's loose at the 38-yard line. And Wake Forest comes up with it. Recovered by Zach Stukes for the Demon Deacons. First turnover today by Nebraska.
Well, you knew they were going to force some turnovers in this football game, and it was just a bad quarterback center exchange. If you're Sam Keller at this point, you're just trying to get on the football. You'll see it come between his legs right there. Just fall on it. Just fall on it. And now Zach Stukes comes up with it. Wake Forest, we mentioned it last year, plus 13 in turnover margin. That won them a lot of close ball games. When you can force those turnovers, 31 takeaways the last year. You can force that. You're going to keep yourself in a lot of ball games. You're going to win a lot of ball games.
And now Wake Forest takes over on the Nebraska 38-yard line. Hodges to the air on 1st and 10, and just going to throw it out of bounds. Marion upset. He was open for a moment, and Hodges did not see him or waited too long. And
timing was bad. He looked there and peeked away from it, and then all of a sudden Marion's coming out of his out route, and he's wide open. Bret Hodges had his eyes back towards the middle of the field and just kind of missed him, but he does the smart thing there, Dave. Throw the football away, live to come back on 2nd down. You know, first down here and you're in field goal range, you want to get some points out of this turnover.
Especially with a kicker like Sam Swank. Running play, Kevin Harris, and a flag down as Harris gets maybe a yard. Andre Jones, the first to greet Harris.
Motion, offense, decline, 3rd down.
You know, Duke Reese almost knocked off Wake Forest last year. That was really the win that catapulted Wake as they blocked a last-second field goal to beat Duke. Hodges on 3rd down completes it, fighting for the first down, and going to be very close is Ken Moore at the 29-yard line. What do you do, Andre Ware, if you're short?
It's decision time. I think you take the points. You got a nice weapon in Sam Swank if you're indeed short, but it is close. And Bo Rudd actually had a chance to make the tackle to keep Kenneth Moore about a yard or two short of that first down. He was going for the strip and missed the tackle and allowed Kevin Moore to get himself close. Well, I tell you what, it's going to be close. We're going to get to the second quarter of this one. They don't have to run a play, but it seems as though Bret Hodges wants to get one called here.
And only 5 seconds to go in the quarter. 4th down and 1. Big Richard Belton at 260 pounds is the fullback. And now the end of the quarter, and this will give Jim Grobe an opportunity maybe to think again about it. So 4th down and 1. Will Grobe stick with going for it, or will he change his mind and go for what might be a sure thing with Sam Swank and a field goal? 4th and 1 to go or not to go? That is the question, Mr. Ware.
This is the guy I would choose right here. But, you know, it's early. You got turnovers. Here we go.
They're going to go, and it's a bootleg, and it's going to be a first down for Hodges. Great ball fake by Hodges. Fooled the entire Nebraska defense, and it's a first down for Wake Forest.
Boy, he pulled Larry Asante, the free safety or the strong safety, comes up from the outside. He gets completely fooled here. Nice play fake by Bret Hodges. You'll see him stick the ball in there, ride it, hide it. Now all of a sudden he can't get back outside. I'm going to walk for the first down right here. Get yourself down, protect your body.
Ball at the Nebraska 22. This time they do hand it off, and powering into the linebacking core is Kevin Harris. Tierre Green, the safety, makes the hit.
And doesn't it surprise you in this football game that Wake Forest seems to be the more physical football team? Nebraska running the ball 70 times. You hear about all this depth they have on the offensive line. Well, defensively, Wake Forest has met the challenge, and now their offensive line is asserting themselves on this Nebraska defense.
And the Wake Forest coaches said we're going to run the ball more this week. We kind of went away from it last week, and the Nebraska coaches were surprised that they didn't run it more in their loss at Boston College. Back to the ground. Kevin Harris again, and gets maybe a yard. Third down. All right, Reese, and Armando Murillo, who is the starting corner for Nebraska, is also a cousin of the two gentlemen that Reese just mentioned. Trying to come up with a stop here, and it's an end around the Marion inside the 10 and to the 6-yard line for the first down. So Marion bounces back after dropping what would have been a 65-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter.
Well, you kind of want to go back to one of your playmakers. You know, he had the big drop. You're going to see the nice motion here. He's going to pick the ball up, going to pick up a few blocks here out on the edges. Watch everybody, body on a body, and then now chopping guys down in the open field. Wake Forest as good as anybody in the country in terms of blocking and space with the wide receivers.
So first down and goal from the 3. They give it to Harris, and he's going to get thrown down back at the 9-yard line. And Ndamukong Suh, who is the first player from the state of Oregon to get a scholarship in Nebraska, makes the play.
Well, he comes through, and it's just he and Kevin Harris in the hole. You'll see him here just fight right around. Nice job of kind of getting the offensive line off him, using his hands and right into the running back. Ndamukong Suh right there. Name means House of Spears.
And that was
he came piercing through on that play. Very good.
On second and goal, again Harris, and again nothing. Zach Potter replacing first-round draft pick Adam Carricker, now with the Rams, at 6'7", 280 pounds, moves pretty well, makes the play there. It's a third and goal.
I got to believe Steve Labatsky is setting up a nice little bootleg for Bret Hodges, the quarterback. You're going to see it right here. No push up front. Nebraska getting lower and making the push. Zach Potter filling in for Adam Carricker. And that defensive end spot, they're getting the better of the exchange now up front in the trenches.
7 straight running plays for Wake Forest. But Hodges to the air on third down and goal, and he's going to take off, and he's going to lose a yard as Bo Ruud throws him down to the 8-yard line. Fourth down for Wake Forest.
I thought it was there early. If they run the quarterback draw, it was there. They spread the field against Nebraska. Nobody in the middle, but then he waited just a tad bit too long to make the decision to run the football. I thought, you know, about second down, that bootleg was set up. The same one that they had when they got the first down, showing it inside and bootlegging Bret Hodges for a big first down. It was there about second down. They chose to run the ball. Now they find themselves in a field goal attempt situation.
Swank, a school record, 23 field goals last year. At a game in which he kicked 3 50-yarders against NC State. That's an NCAA record, so that 25-yarder nothing for him. And both teams with a field goal off the opponent's turnover. We're tied in the second quarter. And a 12-play, 30-yard drive. You don't see that very often. After a turnover by Nebraska, so each team coming up with field goals off of turnovers and after first and goals.
He is about as automatic as there is. Sam Swank, the kicker for Wake Forest. And you get him to down inside, anywhere inside the 40. It's pretty much automatic.
Swing kicking off to Grigsby. Last year that would have been about 4 yards deep in the end zone. Instead, Grigsby is on his way past the 30 and out to the 32-yard line.
Wow, a couple of upsets on the horizon.
I mean, is this not the weirdest start to a college football season that you can remember?
Well, what I think is happening all across the college football scene, 85 scholarships, and now everything's kind of getting spread out where these other conferences, other Division I AA schools are getting some talent that would normally go to the larger schools, and now it's kind of leveling the playing field. You're going to get some good college football games.
Lucky with no gain on that play.
Thinking you're getting layups, all of a sudden you're in a fight.
Now the Associated Press allowing now 1AA teams to have been to be ranked. And some people in this state, where Appalachian State is located about 90 miles from here, would have put Appalachian State in there. And a pass that's caught by none. The best throw yet today, maybe of the season for Sam Keller. That was right on the money. And a first down at the Wake Forest 41.
And he gets behind Kerry Major, the cornerback, who was basically a special teams player last year. Beats him on a nice little corner route. You're going to see right here Sam Keller looking, sorting things out. Had Nate Swift in front of him, but he chooses to go over the top to Terrence Nunn on a nice corner route. Nice ball. Well executed football play.
26-yard pickup. Nunn second all time in catches at Nebraska in 29 in a row. Games with the reception. First down to the 41. And Keller back to the air. Tried for Lucky in the pass behind him. Alphonso Smith on the coverage.
Well, he is Lucky. They're trying to find any way possible to get him the football. And then going back to Sam Keller. He threw the nice completion there to Terrence Nunn, but he has been just kind of inconsistent throwing the football this afternoon, and just over a quarter's worth of work. He's going to have to get himself settled in. You think the nice little easy throw out to Marlon Lucky, a nice hitch route, 6 out of 10, but it seems like he's been a little bit worse than that.
Another pass play on second down and 10. Keller has a wide open France Hardy to the 26-yard line for a 15-yard gain. Checking down on the field, here's Aaron.
Dave, just to add to Andre's point about Sam Keller, over on the sidelines before the offense came out, head coach Bill Callahan was telling Keller to settle down. Remember, he told us he wanted to see Sam come out poised and ready to go. He's learned to live in the moment, but Keller also added to us the other day that he said while he thought he did well in the last game, he said things were coming at him a little fast. He was out all last year, guys.
Yeah, and known as a gunslinger when he was at Arizona State. Again, to Andre's point about the inconsistency, looking to sling it here on first down, and we see the arm strength as he completes it to Nate Swift at the 15-yard line. I mean, that's from the near hash all the way to the far sideline.
Yeah, he's a big guy, 6'4", 230. Watched him in warm-up, and he's got arm strength. Now, you see here, going to take a nice drop, nice play fake, and right in rhythm, throwing a ball, an out route all the way across the field. We'll see him here. Favorite food, ribs. Who doesn't like a good rack of ribs, you know?
And a big Top Gun fan, and he wasn't the Top Gun at Arizona State anymore, and that's why he's here. Rudy Carpenter was named the starter by Dirk Cutter 2 days after Cutter named Keller the starter. Cutter is now gone in the NFL as an assistant coach, and Keller trying to throw a touchdown here for Nebraska, and said almost gets it intercepted by Alphonso Smith.
You know, when I watched this Wake Forest defense on film, they played very good man-to-man defense. They got beat one time to Terrence Nunn on the outside, the nice corner route. They should go back to that, because now they have gone to zone coverage in the last 2 or 3 downs, which has allowed a big, huge windows for Sam Keller to throw into. Nice route out to Nate Swift, the out route, a nice little completion to France Hardy, who was wide open. Get up on those receivers and make them beat you.
Let's see if they go back to the air here on second down and 10.
Well, they're showing blitz.
And Lucky hasn't carried it in a while, and here he gets it, and a big gap down to the 5-yard line is Lucky. A gain of 8. And a third and short coming up. Aaron Curry tripped him up. Otherwise, that's 6 for Lucky.
Well, they kind of getting those big offensive line. They're getting the splits out and kind of spreading this defense. You see here, nice splits, good push, just kind of engaging the bodies. And now there's a nice, huge hole for Marlon Lucky to run through.
And a third down and 2 from the Wake Forest 6-yard line. Nebraska yet to convert a third down today, 0 for 4. Lucky Not going to get it.
Nowhere to go.
Good job by John Russell and Michael Lockett. Jeremy Thompson, who played as a true freshman last year.
I think this is the absolute right call here for Bill Callahan. You take points. You're on the road. It's early in a football game. It's not a short situation. It'd be about fourth and a long 2. So you take the points here. Go ahead and kick the field goal.
This kind of like last year for Wake Forest. They gave up a lot of yards, but not a lot of points.
Bend but don't break.
Alex Henry, who is the short field goal kicker, already hit a 22-yarder. On for another 22-yard field goal. And Nebraska leads Wake Forest 6-3. Low-scoring affair midway through the second on a hot, hot day. About 90 degrees here in Winston-Salem. Battle of field goals midway through the second with Nebraska on top of Wake Forest. 2 trips inside the 5, but 2 field goals for the Cornhuskers. And time now for our Aflac trivia question. Who is Nebraska's only Butkus Award winner? That is a good one. You think of all the great defensive players they've had here. Only one.
That is a good one.
Butkus Award winner, linebacker of the year. Think about that one for a little bit. Meanwhile, Kanalik will kick it away to Kenneth Moore and Kevin Marion.
But Bo Root is on everybody's list for everything. Lombardi, Lott, Bednarik, Butkus, everything. It's not him.
Nope. It'll be taken by Moore at the 2. Past the 20 and slammed down at the 23. Here's Hodges on the keeper, and he jaunts out of bounds after a gain of about 5 yards. Hodges starting for the injured Riley Skinner, and here's Aaron with Riley.
Dave, thank you so much. Well, first of all, Riley out, of course, because of that shoulder injury. What's the latest on that?
Rehab's going really good. They've been surprised how well it's coming along, and you know, we're hoping by Maryland we should be ready to go. That's our plan.
Well, you've been very close to Bret Hodges throughout the game. I know you guys have been talking. What have you been telling him in his ear throughout this matchup?
You know, we just been talking a lot. Just, you know, we're really good friends. Just talking about the coverages and what's going on and how it is to play with this crowd and against Nebraska. But mainly just telling him to stay calm. You know, it's a long game. It's not just, I know it's easy to get hyped up within a quarter or 2, but, you know, you got 2 more after that. And he's doing a really good job. He's taking care of the ball. You know, he's being smart with his play calls. And but we knew, you know, it's not a surprise. We knew he was going to do good. We have all the confidence in the world in him. So.
Well, from over here on the sidelines, any adjustments you'll tell him about at the half that you think he needs to make?
Yeah, we got some stuff to tell him. We see some coverages that you know, it may be hard to see out there, but we think we can capitalize on. So we'll definitely talk about it in halftime.
Riley, thanks, Dave.
All right, let's see how he does here, Aaron, on 3rd down. And he's got a completion and a 1st down to Josh Adams out of the backfield. Hodges was the number 3 behind Skinner going into last year, but he got hurt. Ben Mock, the starter, got hurt. Riley Skinner ends up being the ACC Rookie of the Year.
Well, he gets the ball out here. You're going to see his running back, Josh Adams, right here. Get out in the flat, make a nice quick decision, get the ball to your playmakers as quickly as you possibly can. Allow him to work in the open field. He comes up with a big 1st down for Wake Forest.
See the numbers so far. Here's a play fake. Hodges looking deep. He's got a man downfield wide open. It's Marion. Will he catch it this time? Yes! Inside the 5, and it's a Wake Forest touchdown! He dropped one in the 1st quarter, but not that time. And Wake takes the lead. They're going to say, though, first that the officials have to talk about where he stepped out.
Well, I thought he was clearly going to get himself into the end zone. They're going to rule him out of bounds at about the 1-yard line. But I'll tell you what, one of the hardest things to do for a quarterback is to come back and throw the same exact ball that you had for a touchdown to a receiver again the next possession or somewhere in the ball game. You're going to see him here, nice little short roll, and you're going to all of a sudden he's going to get a nice big post route over the top, lays it in there, and Kevin Marion making sure that he catches that one. He goes out of bounds right there. Good camera work right about the 1-yard line. I think you go to Josh Adams over the top. They've tried to push Nebraska a couple of different times, even in another series of downs, with no luck.
No, it's going to be Hodges sneaking it off the right side, and no signal yet. He is in. Touchdown, Wake Forest. It took a while, but eventually the Deacons hit pay dirt and take the lead.
Well, this time he gets the football, but takes a step back. And Chris DeGear, his right guard, and Jeff Griffin, you'll see him take a step and come around to this side right there. And that's just kind of getting in, just breaking the plane. Hodges family there, mom, dad, making everybody happy.
Coming up from Winter Springs, Florida, where Hodges is from. Now Swank on for the extra point.
Well, we got a ball game.
And remember, it could easily be 17-6 if not for a drop by Marion in the first quarter. But he comes up big on this drive. 61-yard pass play that sets up a 1-yard touchdown run by Hodges. Swank kicking off to Grigsby. Last year that would have been about 4 yards deep in the end zone. Instead, Grigsby is on his way past the 30 and out to the 32-yard line. With Andre Ware, Aaron Andrews, Dave Pash here on a hot and steamy day in Winston-Salem. And Keller dumping it off to Lucky down the sideline and bounced out at the 46, a gain of 14. Stanley Arnew on the stop.
Zone coverage on the third down and no pressure on Keller, and was able to come up with a first down. You see him here, going to just check it down to Marlon Lucky right there. Take care of the football, get it to a playmaker, and allow him to run in space. Right now, they've got the Wake defense kind of back on its heels.
Second time in a row that Keller has dumped it off. Gone to be a man out of the backfield. Keller throwing toward the sideline, and none. Good body adjustment there. Made the catch at the 45, and the clock stops as he steps out after a gain of 9.
Which kind of funny. We were talking about this game before it came off, and I said 70 times they run the football last week. Watch them come out slinging today. And I'm not sure how many times Keller has thrown the football yet, but I mean, it's way more than they've run it in this football game. And right now, the onus is on his shoulders to lead this Nebraska team. 21 times he's thrown in this first half.
Make it 22 as Keller just pushes that ahead and completes it for the first down. Terrence Nunn with the catch. Keller had to shot put that ball as he was about to be sacked, but it's hard to bring him down at 6'4", 230.
Well, he's a big, strong kid, 6'4". You mentioned 230 pounds with blitzer draped on his jersey right here, trying to bring him down. Is Kerry Major, the corner on a corner blitz. And just right there, just flick it, find a way to complete him.
Keller to the air again and again to the sideline where Hardy isn't even covered. And the clock stops as he steps out of the 35. Now it's interesting, Andre, Nebraska has a weapon that it did not have last year. Kicker Adi Kanalix, who has a booming leg. And there were times last year where Nebraska would get down here, maybe 4th down and 10 against Auburn in the Cotton Bowl, and they'd go for it because they did not
have confidence in the kicker. Yeah, and it's, now Ali Kanalix has got a big leg. He can kick him. He made one from 46 yards last week, but both teams have good, superb kickers.
Keller on 2nd and 4, again to the sideline, incomplete. Nebraska last year did not even attempt a field goal longer than 42 yards, and right now it'd be about a 53 to 54 yarder, but Kunalik has that kind of a leg, even though he's just a true freshman. So 3rd down and 4. There's Kunalik warming up. He's from Bosnia, grew up in Germany playing soccer.
And Kunalik, the long kicker. Henry is the short guy.
Keller on 3rd down. Purify can't pull it in. Incomplete. Purify with a second drop.
Yeah, good play by Marcus Williams, a redshirt freshman. And the Stocksbridge, Georgia, right here. He gets beat on the inside by Purify on a slant route. You're going to see him right here working. Sam Keller gets it out. Guys draping all around your legs right here. Watch him break on this football right there. You see it, just tap it out. Purify, remember, this is his first game action, so it's going to take him a little while to get himself back in rhythm. But a couple of big drops and passes that actually should have been caught by Maurice Purify.
And Nebraska going for it on 4th down and 4. Keller stepping up in the pocket and throws a dart for a first down to the 25. Hunter T. Fatiller, gain of about 11 and a first down.
Well, you know, they've gone zone. 2 critical situations, a 3rd down and long and a 4th down right here. Dean Hood relies on zone coverage, and you're just going to allow some receivers that work well in zone to come up with first down reception.
1 timeout remaining. Keller to the end zone. Beautiful throw, and it's a touchdown for Nebraska. Sean Hill with the Nebraska score. Keller right on the money for the TD, and Nebraska goes up.
You know, sometimes all we see are the big plays down the field, but we forget why they happen. Marlon Lucky takes care of his quarterback right here. You're going to see a blitzer come in, and watch Lucky just pick him off just enough to allow Sam Keller to get this football off and down the field for a big-time throw. Look at this right here. That is blocking at its finest. The little things you have to do when you play running back, it's not just receiving and running. Sometimes you got to block as well.
Extra point good. So an 11-play drive, all pass plays, as Nebraska takes a 3-point lead into the locker room. Check in with Aaron Andrews, who's standing by with the coach.
Well, Coach, what was the biggest difference for Sam Keller there in that last drive?
Oh, I think he got his rhythm, and he found holes in the coverage, and I thought he exploited it well. The protection held up. Everything was in sync.
How was he able to finally get that rhythm back?
I think it's just a matter of keep calling plays and seeing the field and knowing and understanding the coverage. I thought he came out of the first half with a lot of confidence. So we'll see what happens in the second half here.
All right, thank you. Dave?
All right, only 5 years removed from a Super Bowl appearance. Bill Callahan trying to keep this team unbeaten before it plays USC on Saturday night on ABC next Saturday. 13-10, they lead Wake Forest. Now Reese, Lou, and Mark, Pontiac Performance halftime report. Bill Callahan's Cornhuskers leading Wake Forest by 3. Dave Pasch, Andre Ware, and Aaron Andrews. Andre, we started off the telecast by talking about your hardware, which is the physical side of the game, and then software, the mental aspect of college football. What's your hardware?
Well, 7 or 8 offensive linemen have played in this game for Nebraska. 2 running backs, as many as 4 tight ends, and 7 or 8 offensive linemen shuffling in and out. But the 4th tight end, Sean Hill, comes up with a big touchdown reception in that first half. So a guy that we couldn't even find on the depth chart. So they are mixing personnel and putting a lot of different personnel groupings in the game.
All right, what about software?
Well, software is, would this Wake Forest offense be able to rally around Bret Hodges? And I think so. So far, 6 of 13 for 99 yards in the first half of this ball game. He kind of settled himself in after the interception and the first drive. So he's got to calm himself down. He's played a pretty good football game so far.
Hodges replacing the injured Riley Skinner, the ACC Rookie of the Year, who was hurt last week in the loss of Boston College. Hodges going into last year's actually ahead of Skinner, who was number 3 in the depth chart, but ended up leading Wake Forest to an ACC title and a school record 11 wins for the National Coach of the Year, Jim Grove. Wake Forest will receive the opening kickoff here in the second half. It'll be Kenny Moore taking it out. And Moore grabbed at the 12-yard line and spilled. Poor field position to start this drive as Ricky Tenarce makes the tackle on special teams for Nebraska. Aaron Andrews.
Dave, I had a chance to speak with Wake head coach Jim Grove coming out of the half, and he told me it's time for his defense to turn it up. He felt the drive that Nebraska scored on. He said, we just simply did not pressure Sam Keller. We need to do that now. As for his own quarterback, he said Bret Hodges now has a half under his belt, and what we need for him is better decision-making here in the second half. Dave?
Well, he hit the nail on the head with the pressure. I think that's when they went to zone. Whenever they were man-to-man and got a little pressure on Sam Keller, he was throwing high, throwing wide. They went to zone, and all of a sudden he was just playing catch with his receivers on that final drive.
Pump fake and a running play to Andrews on 1st and 10. Into the secondary and to the 21. Larry Asante made the tackle 8 yards downfield. Kevin Marion in the first half was open deep twice. This one he dropped, but in the second quarter he pulled it in for a 61-yard gain.
Yeah, same exact play, kind of waited that one out. Just goes out about the 1-yard line. You see Riley Skinner right there cheering his offensive unit on. Boy, it is tough to come back and make that same exact throw if you're a quarterback rolling to your left.
Andrews on 2nd down, grabbed by Sue, and he did not get the first down. Going to come up a yard shy. Now Nebraska, as Andre said, used a lot of different combinations. I think they used 15 tight ends, and let's look at their numbers from the first half. Struggled to run the ball.
Yeah, they really struggled last week, put up over 400 yards on the ground, only 27 on the ground here. Wake Forest, only 2 last week, and they rushed for 84, and they actually threw the football 60 times last week in their loss to Boston College. So kind of a reversal of roles, so to speak, for these two teams offensively.
When Jim Grove was at Ohio, they ran the ball every down in one game against Akron. On third down, a pass that's caught out of the backfield, and it's a Wake Forest first down. D'Angelo Bryant, backup fullback, picks up the first down out around the 35-yard line.
All right, good job by the quarterback, Bret Hodges, of processing things and then getting it to the receiver in stride. You'll see him here. Watch the eyes, looking down the field. Nice play fake and a nice ball thrown right in front of the big fullback, D'Angelo Bryant, allowing him to catch the football on the run and get his shoulders turned up the field.
A good start for Hodges.
Absolutely.
You see the stats at the top of the screen. First catch of the day for Bryant. Hodges of 7 of 14, and a running play. Andrews. Asante tried to block tackle and did not come up with a stop. Ends up being a gain of about 5 on the play.
Well, yeah, if you're wondering about this Wake Forest offense, it's kind of a spread type offense with zone principles in it, with a lot of misdirection. So you'll see them roll one way, come back the other way with a handoff underneath, or an end around when the quarterback's rolling one from one direction and giving to a receiver coming back the other. They get you flowing one way and then they hit you coming back the other.
Back to Andrews, to midfield and into Nebraska territory. Asante with the tackle, but a huge hole up the middle for Micah Andrews.
Well, I'll tell you what, that one is just right down the middle of the field. Right here, you're going to see a nice running lane right there as he cuts it back right up the formation. And now I'm one-on-one with a strong safety deep into the secondary on the third level of the defense. Good job up front by that offensive line for Wake Forest.
16-yard gain. You see 112 yards for Wake Forest on the ground now. Preseason All-America, first-team All-ACC center Steve Justice led the way with a block of the linebacker McEwen. And here goes Moore inside the 20-yard line. Moore to the 10. Another big run for Wake Forest, and it's a first down at the 10-yard line.
You know, the thing you're going to see is just a body on a body and getting into the defenders, engaging. Just right here, you're going to see him come around in motion and watch the bodies when they kind of lock up right there. You see a body on a body, and he makes the cut right there. That's his first one. Getting down the field, you see him right here. All you got to do in the open field is just get a piece of the defender, which the ball carrier reads you, turns it up and inside, and you are off to the races.
38-yard run, first down and goal from the 9. Hodges hands for Andrews. And he gets belted at the 6-yard line.
Boy, you made a good point. After the kickoff and the return by Kenneth Moore, didn't get a whole lot of yardage. Wake Forest starts this drive deep in their own territory. But I'll tell you what, Dave, a couple of big plays, a couple of big runs, a nice third down toss for Bret Hodges to D'Angelo Bryant. And then they got themselves some breathing room, and then a few big plays. And now all of a sudden they are down here inside the 10-yard line of Nebraska and threatening to take the lead in this football game.
Andrews gets the carry on second down and goal, and only a yard to the 5. Shakri Barfield made the tackle along with Octavian, who was at the bottom of the pile that time. Micah Andrews coming off an ACL injury last year, started the first 3 games, got hurt against Connecticut, and the son of former Auburn and Atlanta Falcon great William Andrews trying to come up big here in 2007 after having to watch them win an ACC championship last year. Third down and goal at the 5. It's an inside handoff to Moore, and he is in. Touchdown, Wake Forest.
Well, the point I was going to make on the carry before is that they've tried the inside a few times against this Nebraska defense with no luck. A few shots inside the 5 trying to get some push, and they're not going to get there. All of a sudden, the edges are where you're having the success right here. Running east and west, allowing the runners to see just a little bit of a lane and cutting up inside Kenneth Moore. Wake Forest back on top in this football game.
Swank on for the point after. So Wake Forest marches down the field, and Ken Moore with the rushing touchdown. This would be big for the ACC if Wake Forest can beat Nebraska at home. A look at Joel Coliseum, where the Wake Forest basketball team will start the 2007-2008 season soon without their head coach Skip Prosser, who passed away at the age of 56 on July 26th. He'd been jogging, went back to his office, and a member of his staff found him unresponsive. About 12:45 p.m. he later passed at the age of 56. Prosser, the only coach to take 3 teams to the NCAA tournament in his first year: Loyola Maryland, Xavier, and then Wake Forest. And we talked with Jim Grove yesterday. He and Coach, very good friends.
Very close, and it says he misses his friend. They were 2 coaches that really bounced ideas. One, both coaching different sports, of course, but they bounced a lot of different ideas about how to handle college kids and off one another. This is his buddy.
It's unusual sometimes where you have the head football and the head basketball coach have such a great relationship, but Prosser would be in Grove's office after every game talking football and supporting his friend. So Wake Forest after the touchdown to kick off. Here's Grigsby, who had to leave in the first half because of an ankle injury, but back out there on the kick return. And he gets leveled at the 25-yard line. Aaron Andrews is down on the field, standing by with a special guest.
Certainly am. He just got a standing O from a lot of the students here. Chris Paul, of course, one of the big players here, and obviously you play in New Orleans with the Hornets. We were just talking about Skip Prosser on the air, and you said that's your guy. How are you dealing with his loss?
I'm not sure. To tell you the truth, Coach isn't going to me. That was my main man. He would have did anything for me, and the same for him. And we just try to help him live on as much as possible.
I know you're very close with the team. You still have a house here. What have you done to try to help them grieve?
Man, these guys are still my friends. Winston-Salem is my home first and foremost, and I still go play basketball with the guys. They come over to my house. We watched the football game last week, so they help me out and I help them at the same time.
Of course, you're buddies with a lot of the football players as well. You do a lot of community service here in Winston-Salem. You got a big event coming up next weekend, Habitat for Humanity, for your foundation. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, next weekend I have a Chris Paul Winston-Salem weekend, and it gives a lot of my friends an opportunity to see where I'm from. And Friday we had a Habitat house built, and Saturday night we have a celebrity bowling event. And Sunday we cap it off with a church service. So it gives guys that I think all of my team is coming in. Then we have guys like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Joe Johnson, great guys that come in.
Do we get an invite? What are you talking
about? Of course.
Now, come on.
Always.
So nice to see you. Good luck with your NBA season, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Aaron, so a pass play downfield, then a run by Keller. Second down coming up. Well, Jay Billis is here watching the game with his son today, and Jay said it best when in college basketball, Skip Prosser.
And you kind of feel the same way about Jim Grove, and you get that feeling that how much he cares about the players on this team.
Pass way over the head of Purify, incomplete. And that's it. When talking with Grove and Prosser, very much the same way. He did it for the kids. And you look at Grove's staff, and he's got almost everybody still on his staff that came over from Ohio with him, and that's because they like to work for Coach Grove.
Yeah, talking to Steve and Lavatsky, the offensive coordinator, he said, it's easy to go to work for a guy that that he cares about the kids and their well-being, and his #1 job is to make sure that they leave better human beings and better men when they leave the Wake Forest program. And I'll tell you what, it's very refreshing to sit down and have that type of conversation with a college football coach.
Here's Keller on 3rd down and 5, delivers a strike, but none took a shot right at the point at which he caught it at the 34-yard line. Alfonso Smith with the hit.
Boy, it's a very kind spot by the line judge. And it's going to be 4th down, but Nebraska, I got to think that they're going to go for it here. It's, it is very, very close.
I think you're right on the spot. Looked a little generous.
Yeah, it was very generous. You're going to see it right here. Sam Keller kind of processing the information, gets it out quick, steps up nicely in the pocket, but right there, he gets hit. And right about there is where I had it. And it's going to be a little bit short of a 1st down. We're going to bring the markers out now and take a closer look at it.
And there was no way the ball was at the 34-yard line.
No way. It wasn't even across the 35 once he was hit. But a very, very kind, generous spot for Nebraska. Just short.
Yep, as you called it, still short, so 4th down. What do you do?
If you're Nebraska, you got to go for it. You know, you got 7 or 8 offensive linemen that you've rolled in there, a few fresh ones, and so you get behind a guy like Carl Nix or Landon Murtha and try to get you some push. Nebraska's play selection, the last 16 plays have been 15 passes, only 1 run. So a total reversal from last week.
Yeah, when they ran for over 400 yards, the most in the Bill Callahan era. They're 1 for 1 on 4th down, pretty bad on 3rd down, so maybe it's a good thing they're going for it.
This is when it becomes a game of leverage right here.
Keller will hand for Lucky. He's got the first down to the 31-yard line. Chip Vaughn on the tackle. All right, Reese, well, the player of the week nationally was Marlon Lucky last week, and he just picked up the first down there on 4th and 1. Now Keller back to the air, the pump, and the throw to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Todd Peterson.
Well, he had Todd Peterson wide open. He just tried to gun it a little bit too far. And if he puts just a little bit of air on this and throws it right to the back cone, you'll see it right here. A nice little play fake to Marlon Lucky, who picked up the first down, and a play fake right here. Little pump right there. Just a little bit more air under the football. Give the receiver more of a chance to come down with it. A little bit too much mustard on that one.
Kerry Major, a first-year starter, got picked on last week by Boston College's Matt Ryan. Here's Purify, and he gets wailed at the 23-yard line, but just bounces off of him. And 225 pounds, Stanley Arnew had the big hit.
When we talk about the nation's leader, Marlon Lucky came into this game with 233 yards on the ground. He's got only 33 for this game. 2 players from Wake Forest have outrushed him. The receiver, actually, Kenneth Moore has more yards, 68 yards, and then Andrews with 49. So it's been Wake Forest on the ground that's shown the dominance.
Another 3rd down and short. It'll be Lucky for the first down and for the touchdown.
Well, he responded, didn't he? Sometimes you get squeezed in there so many times, you know, bodies all over the centers and the guards, and you just stretch it out just a little bit and allow a guy like Marlon Lucky to make a move. He finds a nice little soft spot, and all of a sudden it's a race for the end zone.
Parade All-American in high school with a 22-yard touchdown run. Lost his starting job to Brandon Jackson, who, by the way, is starting for the Green Bay Packers this week. That was last year, and Lucky had some issues, as he said, suffered a little bit with some depression, hospitalized for a few days in February with an undisclosed illness. But is he having a great start to the 2007 season or what? 4 TDs last week, 1 this week. Nebraska back up. 4 lead changes in the last 12 minutes. Nebraska back up 3 at Wake Forest. And a drive that had a 4th down conversion on it. 8-play, 74-yard drive. Took just 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Marlon Lucky with a 22-yard touchdown run. Kunalik to boot it away. Moore and Marion back for Wake Forest. And Kunalik, how about that, kicking it out of the end zone from the 30.
And even give the team a chance to get a return.
Here's Ken Moore at a big run last drive, and there he goes again. Moore finally tackled from behind in Nebraska territory by Barry Turner.
Boy, I'll tell you what, this play goes because Kevin Marion comes back down and inside and throws a nice block for Kenneth Moore. Watch this receiver right here as he comes back down inside, picks one off. Now you got plenty of room and space, and you get a playmaker out in the open field. It's just a foot race, making moves, secure the football. Bad field position. Now all of a sudden you're working with some nice yardage right here for Wake Forest.
First down for Wake Forest. And nice Adjustment by Adams, and the catch is made at the 47-yard line for a gain of 3.
Boy, this ball was thrown with some nice touch, waiting for him to clear the linebacker on the outside. And nice little touch over the top there from Bret Hodges. You'll see him here, eyes down the field. You get the runner right there, the running back out and around. Nice job of getting the foot down. Wake Forest on the move.
And on the end around, Moore pretty close to the first down, knocked out by Eisenhart, about a yard shy of the first down marker.
Boy, if I'm Nebraska and I'm Bill Callahan, I'm getting a little bit worried. They're out, you know, they're being physical, a little more physical than my football team, as well as they have added the speed element to this. Now they just look a little bit faster. Some concern right now for Nebraska.
And some quicker tempo, getting in and out of the huddle. They try to run on 3rd down and 1, and pushing the pile is Josh Adams, and he got the first down to the Nebraska 45-yard line.
Well, right here, you mentioned it, getting some quick tempo, get in and out of the huddle. Right now, Wake Forest trying to get some rhythm, not going into a huddle at the line of scrimmage, in no hurry, but just trying to line up at the line of scrimmage. They've got Nebraska in a look defensively that they like them in. So far, as a wide receiver out rushing this Nebraska football team.
Hodges in trouble, gets away from one defender, and then sacked at the 49-yard line by Kevin Dixon.
Well, that's one, a young quarterback. Get rid of the football. You're going to dodge one guy with Kevin Dixon. Now it's getting crowded in there. You're outside the tackle box. Sail that baby into the stands.
Dixon had an interception last week against Nevada, a junior. And Nebraska lost all 4 starting defensive linemen from a year ago, but these guys this year playing pretty well. Here's Moore with a reception inside the 40 and to the 37, got 11 yards. And when we start the 4th quarter, it'll be a 3rd down and short for Wake Forest. Bret Hodges in for the injured Riley Skinner, and Wake Forest home opener, trying to lead his team to its first victory in 2007. They trail as we go to the 4th quarter in Winston-Salem. Home opener for Wake Forest. The defending ACC champs looking for their first win of the season. A big 3rd down and 3. And they hand it up to Moore, horse-collared, which is legal in college. Octavian with a stop. And Andre, that's the first time that play hasn't worked in the second half.
I'm surprised that's the first time we've called Steve Octavian's name in this game, because he just jumps off the film in that Nevada game last year. He is a speed linebacker. They like to blitz him a lot, but you're going to see him run down Kenneth Moore right here from behind. You see him out in front making a nice play, grabbing him around the shoulder pads, but able to get him down, and they kind of went to the well one too many times.
And they were kind of in Swank's field goal range. I mean, 55 yards. The guy's made 7 out of 9 from 50+ in his career. Swank kicked it into the end zone last time, but 2 Nebraska players collide and didn't have to field it there. But Anthony Blue decided to anyway. With USC on deck, Nebraska and quarterback Sam Keller trying to take care of business on the road against Bret Hodges and Wake Forest. And it'll be a running play to Lucky on 1st down for Nebraska from its 13-yard line, and maybe 2 yards there for Lucky. Renfred on the tackle.
Yeah, here if you're Wake Forest, you know, I stay aggressive. There you get a lot of bodies around the line of scrimmage, 7, 8 guys in the box. If Nebraska wants to try to work some clock in this situation with Marlon Lucky, you got defenders there to kind of stifle the run. But you got to be aggressive in pass defense, because we know Sam Keller, if you play zone, he'll pick you apart.
Little pressure that time, and Keller lost the ball at the 10-yard line. It popped up in the air. John Russell had his hands on it for Wake Forest. No signal yet. It's Wake Forest ball.
Well, he's just in a crowded area. As a quarterback, you got to take care of the football. If you're not going to throw it, you got to pull it down and do something with it. You're either going to run it or throw it away. Sam Keller left this football hanging in the air, and one of the defenders for Wake Forest had the presence in mind to tip it out of his hand. You see the pressure there, good pressure, and it's number 95, Zach Stoops, who gets his hands on the football. Not sure who came up with the fumble recovery, but there. Nice job of tipping that football out and then allowing for one of his teammates, number 51, John Russell, to come up with it. We're just talking about a turnover for Wake would be huge right here.
And it's ruled an interception.
They are set up point-blank range here.
Ruled an interception as it was pulled in by John Russell. And you called it. You get pressure on Keller.
Yeah.
He struggled with that today.
You put pressure on him, and he struggles because he can't process things fast enough. He's not comfortable in this offense. Remember, he's been out of football for an entire year. You want to frustrate a quarterback, keep guys coming in his face, keep pressure around him. We've seen him, when there's pressure, throw the ball high, outside, low, and away from receivers. But when you give a guy like Sam Keller time to sit in the pocket against zone, you can find those tight ends and those big receivers. Keep that pressure coming on him. And they've tried going right at the heart of this Nebraska defense with very little success, but some success going out on the edges.
It'll be Andrews to the 5-yard line and down to the 3. We talked about Wake Forest forcing turnovers a year ago. 31 takeaways last year.
Plus 13 for the year. You see it right there. 05, they were -2. That led to the big turnaround in the BCS bowl game. And talking with Jim Grobe yesterday, he said that's exactly what it was in terms of our successful season last year, was forcing turnovers and not turning the ball over offensively.
Second down and goal after a gain of about 6 yards for Andrews. And this time Andrews spilled about 5 yards in the backfield by Ndamukong Suh.
Just too much power inside for this Nebraska defensive line against Wake Forest. You see him right here. Nice little, right there. 2 or 3 times we've seen Ndamukong Suh come through free, just kind of shedding blockers and getting himself through. Now Wake Forest back where they started, and it's 3rd down already.
Sam Keller obviously rooting for the defense to make a stand so he can go back out there with the game tied. 3rd down and goal.
Kenneth Moore out here. That's the playmaker.
Hodges pumps. Now to the end zone. Intercepted! It's picked off by Zachary Bowman.
I thought he had more underneath. He kind of looks him off and tried to go back to the corner. They set it up for him to come underneath and try to get him the football, and then you got a young quarterback who tries to force one into the end zone. The worst, at least you want to come away with a field goal attempt.
But it's Hodges throwing a pick, tossing that into double coverage. And Jim Grobe's team, which lived off of takeaways and then capitalizing on those takeaways, allows Sam Keller to escape one there. Nebraska still by 3 with 6 minutes to go.
Back here at Wake Forest, where the Cornhuskers lead the Demon Deacons 20-17, and right here a big mistake on the part of Bret Hodges, throwing the ball into the end zone, trying to force a touchdown throw, and right there the result, an interception.
Riley Skinner trying to console Hodges, who's getting the start because Skinner hurt his shoulder last week, and now Nebraska goes back to the ground game, and Lucky picks up 5.
You know, in a situation like that, looking back on it, maybe if you're Jim Grobe, you call a timeout, you got a young quarterback, and you realize at this point in the game how important getting points on that drive. You just had an emotional turnover. You got to get some points, or at least get to Sam Swank for a field goal attempt. Take care of the football if nobody's wide open.
And now Lucky dives past the 30 for the first down as Nebraska goes back to its bread and butter play. Handoffs to Marlon Lucky. Let's check in with Aaron down on the field.
Well, Dave, that was a huge interception for senior Zachary Bowman for Nebraska. And remember, he missed all of last season with not 1 but 2 knee injuries. A lot of questions for him coming into this year. Could he return with the same leaping ability and speed? Questions answered, boys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in a big way.
And the senior named a captain, which is great, as Lucky picks up 2. Named a captain after you did not play it down the year before.
Yeah, it's such an emotional game, this game of football, where you have the big turnover. If you're Wake Forest, you're set up in point-blank range. You're pretty much gifted 3 points in that drive. All you got to do is take care of the football. But then Nebraska force a big turnover of their own, get Lucky involved in the running game. They're going to try to wear down Wake Forest on this drive, as well as chew a bunch of clock.
Wake Forest still with all of its timeouts remaining. Another running play, and this time not much for Castile, and it'll bring up third down. BC beat Wake Forest last week. Wake down 3 to Nebraska with a 3rd down and 5 coming up. And Keller's throw on the money to Swift. It's ruled a catch at the 46-yard line and a Nebraska first down.
They got great inside position on the defender on the corner to that side. Nate Swift, big-bodied receiver, 6'2", 200 pounds, and uses that big frame to kind of shield off the corner to that side of the field. Wake Forest trying to name or shake it off as if it were an incomplete pass, but Swift right here, you'll see him right here. You see Sam Keller, 1, 2, 3, get the ball out. Nice position by Swift.
They go back to the ground. Lucky with about a 10-yard gain. Chip Vaughn on the tackle, and Smith lost his helmet on the play as Lucky picks up close to 10.
Well, they're just trying to wear him down right now. That big offensive line, a lot of substituting going on in there, but Lucky starts one way and then all of a sudden finding a crease, and he's getting better and better at that as this game progresses, finding the soft spots of this Wake Forest defensive line.
Lucky with a 9-yard pickup, 2nd and 1. You see Lucky's numbers at the top of your screen. 84 yards and a touchdown. Castile, the muscle man, comes off the bench and gets the first down to the 43-yard line. Clock continues to run. Again, Wake Forest has all of its timeouts remaining.
You see the 3 timeouts right there at the top of the screen. And maybe should have used one. Do a little talking to a young quarterback and Bret Hodges. That's behind you now, so now you got to work the clock, try to reserve as much as you possibly can.
Castile on first down, can't power his way through a tackle. Down about 2, and the ball came out.
He's going to blow it dead.
Yep. Dead at the 41-yard line. It ended up in the hands of Aaron Curry. It appeared that forward progress stopped, and the whistle blew.
Big series of downs when you talk about preserving this clock. Castile, freshman, got to take care of the football. You see him here trying to get nice push. Andy Sand, the fullback, trying to provide some nice little running room. I don't know. That ball looked like it was coming out.
Well, they blew it dead, ruled that he was down, so it cannot be reviewed.
Maybe a quick whistle there.
2nd and 8 at the 41-yard line. Lucky back into the game. Around left end. Can't get away from a nice open field tackle by safety Aaron Mason. Otherwise, he had the first down. Instead, not only is it 3rd down, but he tackled him out of bounds, so the clock stops.
Yeah, and the clock stops here. You see him. Marlon Lucky almost turned this baby up the field and was gone. He's got tremendous speed. And look at the block of the tight end, J.B. Phillips, who's known as their blocking tight end. That's what you call a pancake block right there. Taking a guy head up and then putting him right on his back.
They're going to say that he was still in bounds when he was tackled, so that takes off another 20 seconds.
Clock's still running.
3rd down and 2. 10th play of this drive coming up for Nebraska at the 35-yard line of Wake Forest.
See the drive there, 9 plays so far, 45 yards.
And Nebraska doing what Wake Forest didn't do on the last drive.
Nebraska. So second charge timeout this half.
Calling a timeout, leaving Nebraska with just 1. Meanwhile, Nebraska think and run here, right? 3rd down and 2.
Oh, big time. And you line up and you give it to Lucky again. And again and again.
And it will be Lucky, and he's not going to get the first down. Undercut by Aaron Mason at the 35. And now what do you do if you're Bill Callahan? Do you go? Do you field goal kick? Do you punt it away?
If you're Jim Grove, you take the timeout, and if you're Bill Callahan, you punt the football. You pin a young quarterback down deep and make him drive the length of the field with pretty much 1 timeout. So I would I'd play the percentages here, go ahead and punt the football and play defense.
Well, if Nebraska gets the first down, and Wake Forest can only stop the clock 1 more time. So the play of the game right here, and Nebraska's 2 of 2 on 4th down so far today.
You got to remember to stay on sides if you're Wake Forest, because it may just be setting it up to try to draw you off. Nope.
And it's going to be Lucky, and he's not going to get the first down, and Wake Forest will take over at the 35-yard line, needing only a field goal to tie.
Well, this is one where they question you as a head coach, and he put himself right in the middle of it to be questioned. Why not punt and play defense with a young quarterback? And you're going to see a tremendous penetration right here by everybody along the defensive line of Wake Forest. Getting upfield penetration right there. Nowhere for Marlon Lucky to go, and it's John Russell who's the first guy to greet him. And if Bret Hodges leads Wake Forest down and at least takes this game to overtime with a field goal, they will be questioning Bill Callahan in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Even if Nebraska wins the game, they'll be questioning him. That's what they do in Lincoln, as that pass is caught by Marion out to the 41. Again, only one timeout remaining for Wake Forest.
But this is where they find their rhythm. Sometimes as a young quarterback, when you don't really have to think, get to the line of scrimmage, call a play, and you can just react.
You saw Sam Swank warming up. He's got a big leg. 5 field goals of 50 yards or more last year, and that's got to be a penalty as that pass is incomplete. No flag, and now it
finally comes out.
Man, Bo Ruud was all over Chip Brinkman over the middle.
Well, the umpire wasn't going to call it. It had to come from the side judge, but Bo Ruud had a hold of a jersey and everything else he could grab a hold of. You're going to see the tight end kind of dragging from the right to left, and right there, just hands all over him. Got to be pass interference.
It's a spot foul and a first down for Wake Forest.
Pass interference. Defense, spot foul, first down.
Stop the clock, minute and a half left, and they still right there. Timeout in your back pocket.
And you need realistically to get what, about 20 yards, 25 yards for Sam Swank? I mean, you might be able to get it down to about the 40-yard line and still have a shot.
Get to about the 30, and it's, you know, I really, really like their chances.
Right now, it's at the Wake Forest 44. Hodges trying to hit more, and it's incomplete. He was covered by Grigsby.
Boy, he has got a play set up where he shows the football. He can roll right a little bit and sneak the tight end, block him down, and go back out the left side to the corner. Everybody, every player from Nebraska is biting down and going with the flow of the football. If he can get something on the backside, like down in here, he's going to have something to work with backside.
You got one-on-one at the bottom of your screen. Instead, the pass over the middle, knocked away and incomplete. And that could be a penalty on Grigsby, but no flag this time. Asante hit Hodges as he released the pass.
And you see the chess match. They've gone away from the zone coverage, and it's all man-to-man for Nebraska, getting in the face of these receivers and then putting a lot of pressure on Bret Hodges, a young quarterback making his first start.
You look at Swank in his career, 50 yards or more. He's 7 of 9. Here's a 3rd down and 10, and the pass knocked away, and it is going to be ruled an interception by Ben Eisenhart. The ruling on the field is a pick. Hodges second here in the 4th quarter.
Well, maybe tried to force one, and he felt pressure that really wasn't there. Kind of throws this one off his back foot. You see him, they quick snap Nebraska trying to catch him out of position right there. No pressure really around him, and he throws that one off his back foot trying to force it into Kenneth Moore. And they may review this one because it looks like it hits the ground right there. You see it touch the ground, maybe a trap. I don't know. That's close.
The ruling on the field is reversed. The pass was incomplete.
Touch the ground. One more down.
Wake Forest ball.
And one more chance for Bret Hodges on 4th down and 10.
Breathing a sigh of relief. Right now, the young quarterback for Wake Forest.
Bill Callahan can't believe it, but looked like the right decision when we slowed it down for you.
You've got Moore right here. A lot of room to go here and bring a guy underneath. There's a lot of traffic in the middle of the field, so I'd go where they're not.
And let's see what Hodges does here on 4th down and 10. Could be the final play. Going for Moore, and it's incomplete. Wake Forest players and coaches want a penalty flag as Grigsby was holding Moore, but maybe the ruling was uncatchable.
I cannot believe that they don't get a pass interference call. Grigsby had a hold of Kenneth Moore's jersey. You'll see it here. He's going to cross all the way across the formation. Watch Grigsby grab a hold of him right there. Now, you see the contact. He's got to have every right to the football. To me, that's pass interference. The only reason why I'm believing that the officials don't call it is because they're saying he couldn't catch the football.
Yeah, That's what I thought initially. I mean, he's 3 yards a little bit too wide.
But how can you determine that when a guy's holding on to you? You may accelerate and run through that ball, catch it, turn it up, get a first down, and get out of bounds. Wow.
Now the officials assuming that Moore wouldn't have been able to get there in time.
That's one they missed. They've called a pretty good game here this afternoon, but that's one they missed.
Only one timeout remaining for Wake. Nebraska just has to hold on to the ball.
Boy, I am just amazed. It's right there in front of the Wake Forest bench, so naturally you're going to get a big reaction from the coaches there. But I'm thinking from way up here, it's interference, and then when you see it on the replay, you've got to assume that he can accelerate and get to that football. And when he, because he's being prohibited, you got a jersey, you're holding him around the shoulders.
You're making an assumptive call, is what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Keller takes a knee, and that'll do it.
That will do it.
So Nebraska, its first ever trip to ACC country, comes out victorious, and Sam Keller's team is 2-0 with USC coming in to Lincoln next Saturday. And so Nebraska will win this game, and Bill Callahan goes to 2-0 with SC next week.
Yeah, I think to answer your question about SC, I think they've got enough speed. They can match you power-wise, but they are a little bit faster than Wake Forest. They get to the edges a little bit faster, so they're going to really have to play sound defensively to give themselves a chance in that football game against SC.
Nebraska wins at Wake Forest. The Deacons 0-2. Nebraska 2-0. 20-17 the final score. Up next on ESPN, the 2007 WNBA Finals. Game 2, Phoenix and Detroit. For more on this game, tune into ESPN News for a post-game extra. For Andre Ware, Aaron Andrews, our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dave Pash. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Final score from Winston-Salem, Nebraska 20, Wake Forest 17. WNBA Finals, Phoenix and Detroit coming up next.